You gotta love those teaser clips. If you guys want to fast forward, just go, fast forward. You'll find where I'm beating the piss out of it. But thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. I'll catch you on the next one. Alright, little disclaimer. This video turned out to be way too long. So if you want to skip to the good shit, it starts around 26 minutes in. The first 26 minutes is me just talking about updates. If you want to watch that, go ahead and watch that. But if you skip to like 26 around there, I start driving the car, and there's some good stuff after that. Thanks. Hi guys, it's been a while. I don't have any updates for you. Just kidding, it's quite a bit. If you look in the background here, there's something different going on there. Yeah, that's Turbo Tent 2.0. Yeah, we laid some concrete down, and we got a bigger tent. Let's go inside and check it out. All right, let's check it out. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, this tent is a 13 wide by 20 foot long by 12 feet high. It's made for like SUVs and boats or whatever. I do eventually want to put a building here, but this is going to do for now. The other tent, and just with the stones and everything, it was kind of hard to work on the car. This is going to make it a lot easier. We put some concrete down. Yeah, came out great. I love it. And we also got a little workbench here. I bought a little toolbox. It was dented, but I got a discount for it. So yeah, that was 150 bucks, and I got like 50 bucks off because of the dent. Just can't beat that. And this awesome little, this is a Harbor Freight jobber. This was 100 bucks. I like it. The only thing I don't like is this. This is particle board. So what I might do is maybe just replace it with like a 3/4 inch plywood, or maybe a stainless steel sheet on top or something. But yeah, for 100 bucks, can't beat it. I got some of my tools, got some gear wrenches there. Started loading up my toolbox. Got some stuff in here, all that's happy horse shit. But yeah, that's the tent. Oh wait, I got more. We got I hooked up some lights. So we've got a switch here. We got some lights there. Yeah, worked out good. Got more lights back here. Another switch. And it's freaking it's bright as hell in here. Works great. So I also got this little heater guy here. This thing was 100 bucks at Home Depot. This thing, I'm amazed by it. It's propane, little torpedo heater, and it heats up this joint in like 10 minutes. You're sweating. The problem is obviously like underneath here is all open, so it doesn't stay warm for very long. But it's gonna help a lot. Like if I want to try and do something out here in the winter, yeah, it's gonna be much better than what I had before. Yeah, now let's go to the car. Get some updates on the car. I guess one thing you could probably notice right away is those guys. I got new wheels for it. I had the Weld RTS on it before, and they were great. I always wanted these. The fronts are Alumistar 2.0, and the rear are RTS bead locks. And it's just one of those things. They're stupid expensive, so it took me a while to save the money for them. And then I came across them on sale. Believe it or not, the Weld site said they were on sale. Everything was 15% off. So I was talking to my buddy Joe. He works at A&A, and he's like, dude, I've worked here over 20 years. I've never ever seen Weld wheels on sale. So long story short, I ended up saving like $1,000 on the wheels. So yeah, I can't complain about that. I mean, yeah, the fronts are 17 by 4, and I had to put a spacer. They did fit before without the spacer, but the problem is the center bolt nut that holds the rotor on protrudes, and I tried to put like one of these center caps on it, deeper obviously, but they don't fit. The hole here is different. So the only solution there is to space the wheel out a little bit. And these spacers are for like C5, C6 Corvette wheel spec. And they do work, but they're a little much. When I turn all the way, they rub a little bit. So these are 1.25 inches, and what I need is 1 inch. And the reason being is these rotors go over the factory hub, and it basically pushes it out, the thickness of the rotor, which is probably around 1/4 inch or 3/16 or whatever. So it's not a huge deal, but maybe I'll get a smaller spacer, or maybe I can machine those down or something. But yeah, the backs are 15 by 10 with a 7.5 backspace. And I also put new rotors on. When we did the wheels, I took the wheels off and we noticed my rotors were cracked, and they were just shitty rotors, whatever came on the rear when I got it. And so they were cracked. So I decided to get some other ones and upgrade them a little bit. But a funny thing happened. I think maybe the thickness, is a little more, because it pushed the wheel out a tiny bit. And so I get some rubbing, like over bumps and stuff. I'm a little concerned of what happens like when the car squats when you're on it on the launch and stuff. So I might raise the rear end a little bit, or I don't know yet. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe when I do a new rear, I'll get it like 1/2 inch shorter on both sides, and then space it out 1/4 inch, or do a 1/4 inch shorter on each side. I'm not sure how much room I have on the inside too, if I have to beat the wheel well or what have you. But we'll I don't know. I was thinking too, I kind of want to do like maybe a coilover in the back, so then I could adjust the ride height. Do something like a Viking coilover. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge. It's December right now, and I'm not really I guess we're in upgrade mode for the winter. But yeah, what else we got? Okay, there's something new going on here. Let me know in the comments if you know what it is. I'm not gonna let you know what it is right away, but yeah, there's something definitely different going on right here. You might not catch it if you're not a 3rd gen guy, but there's definitely something going on there. Engine, there's nothing really new with the engine. I mean, it's been running great. No issues with the engine whatsoever. Turbo's great. I might want to change these clamps because they're kind of long and doofy. This was my remote fill because I was having issues with the radiator being lower than the head, and it's hard to fill the engine with coolant all the way. So yeah, these it works great. It's just these clamps are kind of long, so maybe I'll put some T-bolts or something, put something nicer. But yeah, nothing new with the engine. It's running great. Gobs of power, obviously. One thing I am having issues with is the transmission. The transmission has been great. It's a T56 Magnum, and I've had it in here 5 years now. Taking a beating. Taking a beating. Just over 1,000 wheel horsepower behind it for like 5 years now, reliably, and it's been great. But recently it's started to act up a little bit. Like it's got a slight whine. You can barely hear it, but it does whine like 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And then the major thing I noticed with it is it's starting to grind 4th gear. Like if I'm just driving normal and like just shift it a little too quick, or if I shift it really slow, it doesn't grind. But yeah, if I just driving casually and shift from 3rd to 4th, it gives like a grind. I'm like, oh shit. And what happened with that, how that started was I was doing the no lift shift setup. So once I got the mile/hour signal into the Holly, I started doing boost by mile/hour and stuff with the electronic boost controller, so I can control how much boost by what mile/hour I'm going, etc. Okay, yeah, that was wifey. Wifey's home. She went shopping, and she comes out yelling. But I can get her in the video if she wants. She's shy, whatever. But yeah, I was saying boost by mile/hour and no lift shift. And the no lift shift basically is just what I did is I incorporated. I said this in one of my older videos. I wanted to do it, and I did a little video on it. But yeah, I have a clutch pedal switch. So essentially, what happens is when you hit the clutch pedal, it activates the two-step, and then I have a table in the Holly that, given what RPM you're at, you can pull timing. So I essentially have it pulling all the timing out when I hit the clutch pedal, so that I can, hold the pedal to the floor, and you push the clutch pedal in, it kills the power on the engine, so you can shift the next gear. And while I was setting that up and trying to get it dialed in a couple times, I think twice, 3 times, I missed third to fourth shift, and these transmissions don't really like missed shifts like that. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened, and I looked into the guy I get my transmissions from is Hanlon Motorsports. He's local to me. He's like an hour away in Pennsylvania where I'm at, and so I called him up and told him what's up with the trans, and they sell a little kit, new synchros, yada yada. It wasn't too expensive. I think the parts is like $400, depending on if it needs gears and shit, it'll be more. But the little kit that replaces the synchros and stuff was like $400, and then he said like $500 labor. I'm like, oh, that's not bad at all. But then he said it was like 12 to 14 weeks wait, and which I can wait. It's winter. It's one of those things where it's winter. What the fuck? Send it out. Who cares? But then I asked him, what about a new transmission? A brand new one. Maybe I'll have a spare then. I started thinking in my head, maybe it's not a bad idea to have a spare. So he said they're $32.95, which is more than what I paid 5 years ago. I think they were $30.50, $31.50. I forget what I paid. But anyway, they're up to $32.95 now. And he said, and if you want to get it, I would get it before the end of the year, because next year they're going up to $3,500 or $34.95 or whatever. So I jumped on it. I bought myself a new transmission, and it's right here in the box. I just picked it up today, and same thing, Tremec T56 Magnum, beast of a transmission. I mean, they're just, you can't beat these things for, they're extremely tough. And but this one is a little different in that it has a different gear set in it, different gear ratios than what I have now. What I have in the car now is what they call the wide ratio, which is a 297, I believe, first gear, and this one is a 266 first gear. So the 297 is smaller, some would say bigger, but essentially you get less mile per hour out of that first gear that's in the car now. So my thinking at the time was, yeah, the smaller first gear will help with launches. It's a stick car, I don't have a stall, yada yada. But the thing about the first gear is that determines the rest of your gear ratios. So what happens with this transmission is first gear is small, second gear is kind of small, third gear is kind of small, and then fourth gear is a 1-to-1, which is direct drive. So whatever the engine is turning, your transmission is turning, then it's obviously multiplied by the rear end. But what happens is third gear is a 1.46, and then it drops down to a 1.0, which is 1-to-1 ratio. So it's a big drop from third to fourth. So what happens is, you're at 6,000 RPM, you shift into fourth, and it drops down to like 3,500 or whatever. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's just a big drop from third to fourth. And then the other issue is when I'm doing 60 to 130, like it's weird because third is a little too big to do a 60 to 130. Like to start, my RPMs are too low. So then I have to drop down to second. And then I shift into third, but it only gives me 120 miles per hour. So then I have to shift fourth. So I'm shifting 3 times to do a 60 to 130, which really hurts your time, which is probably why this thing doesn't have a great 60 to 130. It's good, it's fast, but for the power it's making and the weight, it should be better. And I think a lot of that is the transmission ratios. It's just I got to make 3 shifts to do it. And with this one, I believe third gear is a 130. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually a big difference. So I might be able to do just second to third. I should be able. There's a transmission calculator to where I can figure it out, but I think second to third is going to get me to 130, and just second to third is gonna get me a 60 to 130. So that's one less shift I have to do. And it's going to take a chunk off the time for sure. And the other thing too that's different with this one is the overdrives. This one, they don't even offer these overdrive packages anymore. This fifth gear was a 74, I think, and a .50, and this one is a 80 and a 63. So they're smaller numbers, which means, so this one, for example, it's a .63. This is a .5. So this car, the overdrive is humongous. Like, I'll be going 80 miles an hour at 1400 RPM or whatever. So with this 6-speed, this sixth gear, it'll be higher RPM. But that doesn't really concern me. I mean, with the 342 rear gear, it's downright, it's pretty close to being too big. Like the RPMs for the engine are too low. You almost like never use sixth gear, is what I mean. So, long story short, I think this is going to work better for a couple reasons. The overdrive and just the gear set ratios are going to be better in my opinion. But yeah, so we're going to do that. We'll swap this bad guy. When I pull this guy out, it'll be my spare. I'll have it rebuilt, refreshed, repaired, whatever you want to call it. See what's wrong with it, and I'll keep it as a spare. And if this one shits the bed, I can throw that one in while that one's getting repaired and what have you. Or maybe I'll sell it. I don't know. I think having a spare transmission is not a bad idea at all. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So the prices are going up. So if you're in the market for a Magnum, get it before January. He told me they're going to jump up another $200 or $300 or whatever it is. Yeah, so that's it about the transmission. The other thing I got coming as well is a new clutch. This clutch is a McLeod RXT. It's rated for 1,000 horsepower. It's been great. I'm surprised it held up this long. I think we were having issues with it. It's hard to tell. Like on the dyno, something was spinning, slipping. So it was either. I mean, Matt seemed to think I had a bent axle or something, which I thought that was the case too. But even with the old wheels and everything, it was fine on the highway. No weird vibrations. Even at Pocono, when I was going 178 miles an hour or whatever, it was not. It wasn't like a bent axle syndrome symptoms or anything. So what I think was happening, it was either tire shake, which is essentially wheel spin that's like chattering as it spins, or the clutch slipping and chattering as it slips, because it's ceramic discs. So this clutch did chatter sometimes, like pulling out. If you ride the clutch a little bit, it would chatter, and that's kind of what it. I don't know. Something was up there on the dyno why we couldn't get the power to hold. But so I'm gonna upgrade the clutch, and I'm gonna go with an RXT 1200. RXT 1200 is just like this one, except it has 200 more horsepower capability. And from my research, there's not much different besides the pressure plates. The same discs, same mounting and everything. It's just got a higher pressure plate, which is it kind of sucks, but it's gonna affect my clutch pedal feel. Hopefully, on the website it says moderate pedal. This one is damn near stock, which I love about it. Almost stock pedal feel, and it's got the grip potential there, but they say the RXT 1200 is moderate pedal, so hopefully it's not terrible to live with. A lot of people are probably thinking why I'm not going with something different, which there's clutches out there that hold 1,500 horsepower and retain stock feel clutch pedal, which is, I would love that. And like, so a good example is like an LT1S triple disc or something. The problem is I have a stupid setup in this car, which I should have switched. I should have switched everything over to LS based stuff. Like, this is still small block Chevy based clutch pack. The reason being is I have a conversion flywheel, which is like 400 thousandths thicker than an LS flywheel, and I did that because at the time I had a TKO transmission and a small block Chevy clutch, and it was just easier to buy the adapter flywheel and use everything I had. So fast forward, I put the small block Chevy twin disc in there. It held for a while, and then I started making more power, and now it doesn't hold enough power. And there's no small block Chevy version of the LT1S triple. They all come with their own flywheel, and I can't use that. I have the conversion flywheel. I could convert everything over, which, that's the problem with that is you got to buy a new bell housing, which this is a scatter shield, which is $750 right there. And then the clutch kit is going to be, I think an LT1S triple is close to $2,500 or something, maybe more. And then the main issue is it moves the transmission. I'm not sure if it shorter or longer, like if it moves it forward or back, but I know the LS bell housing, because I would have to change the bell housing, it moves the transmission. It's not going to be in the same spot it is now, which is going to affect the cross member. I would have to modify that. It's also going to affect the torque arm length. I'm going to have to modify that, and the drive shaft, and then also the shifter location where the shifter comes up out of the tunnel. So it's going to move all that shit, and it's going to cost a lot of money. So eventually I might have to do all that, but for now, I'm hoping the RX T1200 holds up. McLeod said they do have one that's called the SFT 2000 or something, and that's good for like 2,000 horsepower. But that doesn't have a diaphragm. It has like 3 fingers. It's like on the diaphragm of the pressure plate, and that, he said, is definitely a hard clutch. It's probably like on off, and it's a pain in the ass to drive on the street. So I really don't want to go with something like that if I don't have to. But so yeah, the clutch is on its way. Got the trans. We're gonna do that. The rear end. I bought this rear end when I bought the car 8 years ago. It's a strange 12 bolt 33 spline. I bought it from a guy, I think it was on either Craigslist or Facebook, I don't know, but it was out of a 4th gen Camaro, strange 12 bolt, so it's the 4th gen width, and I think I paid $1,500 for it, and it's done its time. It's been great. It whines, but it's not broke, but I can't see it, holding the kind of power I'm throwing at it for I mean, I don't launch the car, so maybe that's why it's surviving. But I was looking around and trying to decide whether I want a 9-inch or maybe a strange S60. And the S60 is a beast of a rear. You can get them 35 spline. It's 9 3/4-inch ring gear, where everybody says, "Oh, Ford 9-inch." Well, this is 9 3/4. It's like a tank rear. It's strong. Probably be the last rear you ever have to buy. The problem is they're big and heavy. I'll probably put another 60-80 pounds on the back of this car if I do that. And the other problem with them is there's limited gear ratios that you can choose. I think the lowest I can go is a 350 gear, and this is a 342, so that would change already. Not a huge deal, but I'm up in the air if I wanted to go lower than a 342. I might not have to, though, with this transmission, just to get the 60 to 130s down. When you change the rear end, it changes all the gear ratios. Yeah, I was looking at 9 inches, a Ford 9-inch, and over at Black Friday, who was it? Quick Performance? Quick Performance was having a sale, like 5% off or something. So I did the thing and built my rear on their website or whatever, and it was like I would have saved like $200. But then I didn't pull the trigger on it. I'm like, you know what? I really got to fix this trans first, and then I went down that road, and here we are. But long story short, we might do a rear this summer. I'd like to do a rear in it, and then maybe redo the seats. I mean, everything costs so much money right now at this level of the build. I mean, you're looking at, on a 9-inch, if you're not careful, you'll spend 5-6 grand on a 9-inch. And the Strange S60 is like 3,500 out the door. You know, so they're cheaper and stronger and all that, but they're heavier. But the seats, that's like, I got quoted like 2,500 bucks to redo the seats. That was years ago, so it's probably 3 grand now. I'm gonna do some little stuff like these new seals. I put that on my Christmas list. These things are dumb expensive too. It's 80 bucks for the set of the outside seals, or 90, something like that. Everything is dumb on these cars anymore. But yeah, this is it in all our glory. All right, should we take it for a ride? Let's take it for a ride. I got these fancy schmancy roll-up door kits. It's kind of cool. You pull on this, it rolls the door up for you. It's kind of neat, huh? It came with a solid wall. You know, it came with one zip-up door and one solid wall. So what I did was I ordered another zip-up door. So now I can get in and get out. And yeah, let me roll up the door. All right, let's see if this guy starts. It's still got E85 in it. It's been a while since I started it, but should go pretty good, I think. Oh, come on, baby. Yeah. So yeah, the car drives fine. I mean, but yeah, there's that transmission issue. Yeah, I cringe every time I go to shift third to fourth. Third. See if it'll do it. Speedometer making all kinds of noise. See that? No sir, I don't like it. No sir, I don't like it. Well, that's a new development. See my speedo? Making all kinds of noise. Trip things are jumping. Well, that's a shame. I have to look into that. What's up with that? Yeah, that's really annoying. Speedometer's making all kinds of noise. Weird. Anyway, I think you guys can probably hear that transmission grind. That's what it's doing. See, now it stops when I go slow. If I go over 25, 30, it starts making all kinds of noise. It's weird. If anybody knows about that, let me know in the comments. I have no idea. That's never happened. I think it is the original speedometer. Yeah. I mean, I have a new cable for it. Because the one I have, it leaks. It's a mechanical cable that spins on a gear inside the transmission, and these T56 Magnums have both electronic speedo and mechanical, but the issue I was having is, like, there's a little adapter on the transmission, and then the cable screws onto that, and it would leak there. It would leak fluid there, and I tried like putting silicone and shit on it, and it's not the adapter leaking, but where the cable actually screws on and mounts, it's like a flare type of, you know, seal or whatever. I feel a sneeze coming on. Help me. So yeah, I have a new cable for it. It's just a pain in the ass to get to because you got to get under the dash, and then it clips on. It's got like a clip that holds it on, and then the rest of it is underneath the car. It's held onto the body with, you know, clips, clamps, or whatever. So it's one of those things where you got to be under the dash and under the car. So I just never got around to it. But that's weird that it's making that god-awful noise. It's never done that before. And the trip meter thing, that's never worked. So maybe something finally took a shit in there, and that's what's making all that noise. But yeah, the transmission is kind of fucked, you know. I mean, the thing about this clutch too is, I don't think I mentioned it, is it's slipping. It's you know, when I throw more boost at it, or you know, if I did, last time I tried the rolling anti-lag in third, and it just destroyed the clutch. So I'm pretty sure that's just the problem there. Is the clutch just won't hold it. It's, you know, it's rated for 1,000. Making a little more than that at the wheels. I mean, I think they always rate them at the flywheel, I'm sure. But, you know, so this is probably 1,200 at the crank when it's making 1,000. But pulling in this little parking lot here. There's a weird guy. Somebody was here doing donuts. Goddamn, this thing still rips. Ooh, there's fourth. See, fourth is. If I shift it slow, it doesn't grind. But man, this fucking thing still rips. It blew the tires off, of course, but it got traction like halfway through second and third. It starts boogieing, man. The problem is, third gear doesn't get you to 130, so you know that transmission's gonna help a lot, I think. All right, I'm gonna take this thing to get some fuel. Some good news. It seems like the speedometer stopped making noise. It's weird. Just beat the piss out of it and it goes away. It's funny. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be making noise now. Weird. Oh, yeah, two-step's still on. So I put a toggle switch on it because that's what'll happen. Like when it you know, tags the rev limiter or your two-step. Oh, it's back. God damn it. When it now it stopped. I don't know, the speedometer's on the fritz. Anyway, when you hit the two-step limit, which I have it at like 3,600, it'll backfire. So what I did was I put it on a toggle switch, and I had it on for that launch it did. So yeah, you flick the toggle switch, now your two-step is active, and I have it on the clutch pedal, so the no lift shift works, and then I also have a button on the steering wheel, so I can do rolling anti-lag. Basically, activate the button, hold the button down, and then floor it. It'll bounce off the rev limiter, and then you let go of the button, and the car takes off. So that works pretty good. Yeah, let's go get some fuel. Now the speedometer's not making noise. I don't know. Maybe just something needs to be like lubed up in there or something. I don't know. Weird. Somebody just pulled up next to me. Ooh, see, these tires rub like over bumps and shit. I think it was Ethan. It looked like Ethan, or maybe it was just a stranger. I don't know. But he was basically telling me to step on it, so I did a little bit. Should we do a rolling anti-lagger? Let's try it. Jesus Christ. Damn. God damn. Felt like it hooked a little bit. I have to look back at the video, but that thing. I mean, it's been a while since I beat on it. Maybe that's why, but it feels pretty fucking strong, man. If I could get, see, last time I did a 60 to 130, it was with the other tires, and it just blew the tires off in second. So if you can get it to hook and go, and from a rolling anti-lag in second gear, and then a flat shift to third, because when I shifted third right there, you can see that it dies a little bit when you hit third, and it's because I let off the throttle. If I can shift with it to the floor, man, you know, there's no reason why this might be a low 4 second car, maybe even high 3, you know, but yeah, fucking thing rips, dude. All right, we're back at the turbo tent. Yeah, like I said, it clearly runs great. Just the transmission and the clutch are not up to par. So we're gonna address those in the off season here. One thing I did notice is I put a new cutout on. Here's my old one, and there's nothing wrong with it. It was leaking. You know, you could hear it like my cutout down there. And so I took it off. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this thing? And here it's missing a screw. So that's why it was leaking. But apparently these things do not. I mean, I already knew they don't like the two-step. But this is a brand new one, and even with it open, it must have bent the flapper already, because it's giving me the sound like it's leaking. So just keep that in mind if you buy these cutouts. They don't really like the popping and banging off the two-step. They sell rebuild kits and little butterfly valves for them, so you can switch those out. It's cheap enough, easy enough to do. But I had already replaced the motor on this one, and yeah, it was leaking, and I thought, it was something, I don't know, something with the flange or something was wrong with it, but here it's just missing a screw. So, yeah, you got to Loctite those, or maybe get longer screws and then put a nut on the back and Loctite it or something. But, yeah, we bent the goddamn flapper already. Brand new cutout. It's hard to tell. You can't really see it, but it must be bent because, yeah, it's bent. You motherfucker. Yeah, well, race car problems. But yeah, that was fun. Took it for a beating. I'm scared to beat the crap out of this thing. Like, this is something you can't beat on it every day, all day, because shit it will break eventually. So I give it a couple floor jobs here and there, and I mean it's awesome when it's running good and when it's ripping like it is, because it's such an adrenaline rush. But it's also the same amount of depression like when it breaks. It's like it's equal highs and lows with something like this. When something that runs like this, when it's running good and ripping, it's freaking awesome. But it really sucks when it breaks. So you find yourself not wanting to break the thing. So I usually just putz around with it and enjoy it and floor it here and there. But like as far as like going out and just beating the shit out of the trans, banging every gear, doing quarter-mile pulls, 60 to 130 pulls all the time, like I mean, my brother described it to me pretty well. He said it's like you build something and you're only going to get X amount of floor jobs out of it, whether that's 5 or 10 or 100 or 1,000. It all depends on how you build it and what parts you put in it. Like the stock bottom end guys, they do a lot with the stock bottom end, but again, you get a certain number of floor jobs. You're going to be able to floor that thing only so many times before it lets a rod out or breaks a piston, or and same thing with this. I mean, the motor's stout. For this power level, it's on the edge now with head gaskets and shit, but the transmission, the clutch, the rear end, it's all got to be up to par. And it's just money and time and work. Alright, thanks for watching my video, guys. I realized it was exceptionally long. I was going to break it up into 2 or whatever, but it is what it is. If you watched the whole thing, thanks, appreciate it. If you skipped around for the good parts, that's fine too. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, tell your grandmother, put it on your page, tell people about it. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.